I'm a senior software developer. I worked around 20 years in the industry, and I've also I also have a master's degree in computer science. Today I would like to give some general information about how to work on backend and frontend. I have mostly worked with frontend actually in my career. In the beginning of my career I did a lot of full stack, because in the beginning of the career, before single page applications, we all did full stack basically. But later, when React became popular, I jumped on the React train and was working with that for many years. And it was a little bit hard for me to actually now just my recent job, I started to work with Kotlin and Spring Boot and actually working on backend for a little bit full stack, but mostly backend on my latest project. So that was a switch, of course, and it takes a little bit of work, but it's perfectly doable. Full stack is like that is like if you can't decide if you want to be a backend or frontend. But there's also, it's like a little bit like if you want to be a specialist or a jack of all trades. If you're a full stack, you're a little bit a jack of all trades. You can build the backend, you can build the front end, and you probably need to be very fast learner to learn things very fast, because you need to know more stuff from both backend and front end. Personally, I've always wanted to be full stack, because because first of all, it means that, for example, if you want to build an app yourself for some reason, you can do both part of it. You can maybe if you have an idea of an app you want to build, you can do both. And also I think out of curiosity, I think I wanted to be full stack, because I want to have a kind of idea of all the parts that goes into an app, how they're made, and also because, like I said, many employers value that their staff can do full stack. But it seems like one thing I need to point out here is that it seems like in general companies want to hire more backend. Actually, there's usually slightly higher demand for backend people, and also usually backend also gets paid a little bit more than the front end people, and I think that has to do with like I said, even from the very beginning. Backend development was like the more high status work that had to do with serious things like databases and stuff, and front end was more like a bunch of teenagers doing styling with HTML and stuff, and it from the beginning front end wasn't even considered like real programming. It was more like doing some scripting and some styling and some, but over the years, when we have like single page applications and stuff, actually front end has become immensely complex also. The front end is, I would say, equally complex to the back end in many ways, but still the back end people get paid a little bit more still, and they are a little bit higher in demand. Maybe that's the reason why. There is a risk that if you start working with something in software, the employers will ask for expertise, knowledge within that field when you apply for a new job, and if you if you want to switch from front end to back end, in the beginning you of course will only have a little bit superficial knowledge of things, so it's harder to go past all the tests to get the back-end job if you have worked a lot with front-end, for example. But I would say it's perfectly doable. It's all about if you have the will to do it and if you want to do it, and some luck also. Sometimes you would work on a project as a front-ender and suddenly there's an opportunity, you can just start working back-end and build your knowledge about that. So I would say it's doable, but there is a little bit of risk you can get stuck in one of the fields. When I studied at university, actually web services weren't even a thing. It was like, and most people who did, like I said in the start, when I was graduated, most people who did real programming actually did desktop applications, and they worked with compiled languages, and much like Backend turned out to be also. But things have changed a lot since when I studied computer science.